The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Here we go. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show, episode 305. We are days away from the NHL draft. We are a week away from free agency, Canada Day. Do you have any plans for Canada Day? How are you going to spend your Canada Day?
No, I'm going to be sitting on my ass waiting for updates all day. That's what I'm going to be doing on Canada Day.
You're like a true insider.
I am.
You're sacrificing the holiday.
If you just do like an average podcast on this team, you technically can become an insider. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just what I've seen. But
Yeah.
That's just me.
I think we need to have a Leafs Nation State of the Union today. We posted a reel from last week's episode, basically sharing our thoughts on the John Tavares situation and saying what we've been saying all along, which is we don't want to overpay him. We don't like the mentality of, well, you just got to give him $7 million because there's no one else out there. And I got to be honest with you, I am shocked at the amount of comments that we got on that reel from people who basically are like, you guys are idiots. He's worth every penny. Where are you going to replace 38 goals? That's the number one thing that you just see over and over and over. Where are you going to replace 38 goals? And you and I have talked about this a lot, man. This is a fear-based take, and it's people who are terrified of the probability, and I say probability, not possibility, that this team may regress next year. And so they want to turn around and overpay John Tavares because just the anxiety around not making it to the second round is just too much for them to handle. I was honestly shocked and floored at the amount of you guys are morons. He's worth 7 million comments we got last week.
Yeah, it's split right down the middle right now, which really it has to be split down the middle. You're either on our side or on the other side. And it is wedding season right now. So, and I don't really like having conversations about anything else other than sports. So I've been having a lot of Maple Leaf forward conversations, and it is split down the middle. There's a lot of dudes who are on our side being like, how can you possibly give in to any of this? And then you got the other side where how are we going to replace this 38 goals? And I'm just going to say I was pretty fired up when I saw the early numbers that came out on what they're offering him. I don't know if it's true or not, but that is exactly what I'm looking for. And I think that's an early sign that their mentality is going to be our mentality in terms of how they're going to handle the offseason in terms of giving money away and trying to change the DNA and all that crap. So the fact that it's $4 million early reporting, fuck, I'm so happy about that.
I think we need to get our heads around the fact that this is, I mentioned off the top, we're a week out from free agency. Brad Treliving is not going to get all the issues with this team solved in a day. This is going to be a long process that is going to carry on into the season. And everyone's just going to have to sit back and be patient here. My response to people who say, how are you going to replace the 38 goals is you might not. You honestly might not. At least not right away. And turning around and giving John Tavares $7 million doesn't get you any closer to a Stanley Cup. It actually hamstrings you even more, in my opinion, and it's repeating the same behavior that landed this team where they are. And it's just fear, man. Like I can't. I'm almost at a loss for words and don't know how to wrap my head around how scared people are of losing him.
They're on the logic side of things. It's just they're looking at just pure numbers in, numbers out. I heard someone say to me, what's the plan then? That's the thing. It's like, well, what's the plan then? It's like, well, I don't know what the plan is. That's the whole point of this whole offseason. You're right. It's going to carry into the regular season. But all those people are thinking about is just numbers in, numbers out. But Here's the thing I'm asking myself. Is John Tavares going to replace 38 goals if they re-sign him?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I'm like. If you look at his Maple Leaf career, like he had 47, 36, and 38, but all the other years, 29, 27, 19, 26, like good production, but I'm not expecting another 38 goal season from John Tavares. You give him $8 million for what, 3 years, and then he's scoring 26 goals again. Like, I don't know. It's just it's purely logic versus feel and watch. Like,
yes.
I'm sick of watching this. I've watched it. I've seen it. I've had enough. And some people are just no, like they can't deal with that. They just they they see the Leafs as like almost like a success, as like at least they're competitive. They're right there. People still make the argument that they were right in Game 7. That's still an argument people have. So it's really just two sides of the coin here. It's just like, I'm sick of watching this. I don't think this team could win. And then other people think the exact opposite. They think they're a game away still.
These same people are the people who will be bitching about how this is a terrible contract in 2 years when he sucks. Like, if they sign him to a 4-year deal and he's 36 and is playing as your third line center or even fourth line center, these same people will be like, John Tavares makes too much money. You got to move him. You got to trade him. And it's just, we're living in the moment right now. And we're terrified of starting the season with Max Domi as our 2C. And to be honest, there is a world where that happens, because what John Tavares' camp is doing right now is they're looking around the league and going, not a lot of centers here, guys. So maybe you do have to pay me $7 million because what else are you going to do? And trying to call the Leafs bluff and get them to panic. And like I said, people, get your head around the fact that this team potentially finishing third in the Atlantic or being a wild card team next year it's a probability. It is. If you want to get mad at somebody, get mad at Brendan Shanahan and Kyle Dubas, who made this mess that Brad Treliving is now trying to clean up. You are in this situation where Mitch Marner is leaving next week for free because Brendan Shanahan would not allow Brad Treliving to explore a trade for him before his no movement clause kicked in. So you weren't able to get any assets back from him. They are several pieces away up front from being a Stanley Cup contender. I'm sorry, they are. Miss me with your, oh, well, they were in Game 7 against the Cup champs take. Guys, like, come on. They went up 2-0 in that series because the Florida Panthers slept through the first
then they got smoked.
2 games. Yes, and then they got smoked. Like, stop.
It's all the way you look at it. It's
Yes.
really just how people look at it. Like, I look at it as a complete failure, and other people look at it as a success and that they're right there. Like, it's in how you can't really get mad at those people. It's their opinion. It's how they feel. It's how they see it. I just see it. Both of us see it in a different way. I see it as a failure. I see it as I'm done watching this and I'm ready to watch something else. And other people just don't see it like that. They see it as bring them all back. Maybe you add a piece here, piece there, and we can get over the hump. So it's really just how you look at this whole thing.
I just keep coming back to the point that handing John Tavares $7 million brings you no closer. It brings you no closer to a Stanley Cup. It doesn't. You're not anywhere closer to a Stanley Cup with him making that amount of money. You're not any better off. You're just not. You're not. So he either signs for what the Leafs want him to sign for, or he walks. Get your head around the fact that they might be starting the season with Max Domi at 2C, with their centers being Matthews, Domi, Lawton, and Kampf, and Brad Treliving reworking the forward group of this team could take a season. It's not something that they're going to fix. It's not going and getting Brad Marchand, as much as I want them to do that, and Mangiapane is not. It's not enough. And there's nothing. Everyone keeps talking about what the free agency market looks like and how bleak it is and how difficult it is to make a trade and how much leverage some players and agents have because of the state of the league right now. So just get your head around it. I don't want Max Domi as this team's 2C. I don't. But living in this, I'm trying to live in the real world here and be like, that's a likely scenario. That might happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. There's no way that anyone, like somebody is going to replace that position. I don't believe Max Domi starting at 2C, but I don't think you have to worry about that. But with Tavares, like I would look around the league and go, take out a 1-year deal. Like, let's say he's looking for 3 years. What other good team in this league that's a playoff contender, because that's the type of place he would want to go and who he could help? Like, what team's paying him that? Like, I don't know.
It's not.
Yeah, like, I don't know. You can go to like a lower team and they'll pay you that, but like have fun just slubbing it out there for the rest of your career. Like,
exactly.
I don't know. Like, what would I'm trying to think of good teams around the league. I guess Colorado signed Brock Nelson to like a $7 million deal, but like I don't really see another good team being like, here's 8, here's 7 because you scored 38 goals last year. This guy can't take something with a 5 in it. Like, did I really think that he was going to take something with a 3 or a 4 in it? Probably not. But if you can't get it under 6, like goodbye.
Well,
like goodbye.
What's happening? Like I said, what's happening is the agent is looking around the league and looking at how bleak the center market in particular is, and they're trying to gain some leverage here by looking at Treliving and saying, "Well, there's nobody else out there," and it's working. Like the whole theme of this episode so far is how freaked out people are by that. So they're trying to put Treliving over a barrel here, and he's just got to stick to his guns. Be like, no, you take this. You're right. Do you take 5? Fine, let's go to 5. You take 5, or there's the door. Go play in Utah.
Yeah. I think people need to stop looking at it from the point of this is for 2025, 2026. This negotiation is setting the tone for 2029, 2030 to me. Like this is we are not doing this anymore. Like we've done this, it didn't work, and now going forward, we're digging in and we're going to test John Tavares' morals and character here. Because I know he doesn't want to go play anywhere else. He doesn't. So we're really going to test it. Like if he really thinks he's worth $7 million, then he'll go somewhere and play for $7 million. But I am testing that to the bitter end. And if he walks, then so be it. I'm not. This is a tone setter for years to come. And hopefully Brad Treliving has his job long enough to have that and someone doesn't come in and screw it all up. But yeah, this is a tone setter for me for years to come. This isn't just about next year.
And when we talk about DNA change, this is what the DNA change is. We spent 9 years giving talented players everything they've ever wanted, and it resulted in 2 playoff series wins and 0 Stanley Cups. We're not doing that anymore. And we're definitely not doing it for a 34-year-old who's only getting slower. Like, yes, he had a great year last year. No one's disputing that. But to turn around and be like, well, he scored 38 goals. Here's $7 million. Like I said, these are the same people who 2 years from now will be like, he makes way too much money. He's so slow. You need to move off him. Like that. They're the same people.
Yeah. Yeah. People are so worried about next season. It's just all about next season. What are they going to do next season? I get it. Taking a step back sucks. Like I understand that. Like I don't want to watch what I watched I don't want to watch a non-playoff team. Like, of course I don't want to watch that.
I'm going to hit you with a sizzling hot take right now. This idea that the 3 remaining years on Austin Matthews' contract is the quote-unquote window, I don't know if I necessarily buy into that. This isn't a situation like what's going on with McDavid in Edmonton. Like, you look at that, and it's like, Connor McDavid has proven 2 years in a row that he will lead you to the promised land. He's having trouble getting over the hump of the Florida Panthers when he doesn't have a fucking goalie. And
playing the best team I've ever seen.
Yes, and John Klingberg is in the top 4 of his defense.
They have no depth.
So this idea that, well, you have to go out and make all these moves and re-sign Tavares because this is your window. This is your 3-year window. I don't necessarily buy into that. Like the sample size with Matthews now is 9 years. He's not a guy that's going to take over a series and win you a playoff series. So I'm not really looking at that as the 3-year window. I hope that they can make some moves and in that time, like challenge for a cup and go to the next level. But I'm also kind of looking at this going like, I'm thinking even beyond that. Maybe after Austin Matthews leaves, who are you going to go out and acquire? How are you going to restock assets that this team has no draft assets? None. Like, how are you going to restock that? How are you going to help your depth up front? Outside of Easton Cowan, he's their only prospect in the system that you look at right now.
But good guy Ben Danford.
Okay, fine. Good guy Benny Danford. But like, who else do you like?
Yeah, there's nobody.
I'm looking at this exactly. Like, this isn't a quick fix. This isn't something that's going to happen in the next like few months. It's not. Like, Treliving's got to play the long game here, and starting by being a hard ass with the Tavares negotiation is a good start. But everyone needs to just get their head around the fact that, like, yes, a regression might be coming here. It might be. And I'm okay with it. Because guess what? We spent the last 9 years going talent. And where did that get us? 2 series wins and a bunch of disappointment in the playoffs. And also, how many nights in the regular season over that span did we come on this podcast and everyone else go on their podcast and go, holy fuck, were they awful tonight? They didn't know. Like, if I would rather watch a team, I'm so bought in on this DNA ideology that I would rather watch a team that goes out there and works their bag off every night and is just void of a little bit of talent than a team that has a shitload of talent that they're overpaying for and is just disappointing you year after year after year. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's 2 ways. It's one way, it's just some people think you keep everybody, you keep the talent, you keep taking a swing, and eventually, hopefully, you break through. And then you have the other side of it where it's like, it's almost like you're so sick of it that it's just like a rebuild almost. Like, it's just like, we see it as such a failure that like a rebuild or blow up is totally cool with me. Like, because they haven't been successful. They haven't won anything. I haven't liked anything I've seen in the best moments. So it's just, that's why this conversation is so difficult to have with people.
And like I said, I come back to the McDavid comparison. Like, if you're going to compare Matthews and McDavid directly,
that's ridiculous.
Connor McDavid has shown you that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl carried a very average Edmonton Oilers team to the Stanley Cup final this year. Austin Matthews has not shown the ability to carry a team to one playoff win, let alone a series, let alone a Stanley Cup final. It's not the same.
No.
That's why I'm not bought into this 3-year window talk.
No. I think there's a lot of pressure on 2 guys going into next season. And I'm very interested to see how they react to it. I'm very interested. I think that is a whole other thing about this where it's like, I think I know what Austin Matthews is at this point in his career, but I think this season's going to be a real telltale sign kind of halfway through his career here of where he's going to go going forward and what type of player he actually is. I think it's going to be the most fascinating story of the season for me, thinking about it in June.
To your point, it's going to be interesting to see how he is without Mitch Marner and if that changes his game in any way. It's going to be interesting to see how this changes the role William Nylander's been in all these years.
I think his game will change. It has to. Especially. I mean, we'll see who's on a line with him. But his game has to change. And you've seen glimpses of it through the years when they've put him with a couple other random dudes and it kind of looked good for a second. But his game is 100% going to change. It's not going to be that, like, sometimes they would just get in that little mode where they would just do stupid little pretty things all the time. And I think that part is going to change. And I think it's going to be really fascinating to watch.
One thing I want to hit you with, and we don't deal in hypotheticals on this podcast, but everyone's been talking about just the limited number of assets the Leafs have if they want to make a deal. And one of the names that people are throwing around as a potential chip to move out, and I know you're not going to like this, which is why I'm bringing it up for you, is Brandon Carlo, because he's one of the guys that doesn't have a ton of no trade protection. If it could help improve your center depth, would you be willing to send Brandon Carlo out the door?
Yeah, 100%. I'm
cool. I'm shocked that you're saying that.
I'm cool with anything at this point. Like, the door's pretty open for me. I don't really have I would try and keep your 2 goaltenders the way they were, because that could be a massive factor in you making the playoffs, because the goaltending was good enough last year to make the playoffs alone with a good team. So to me, that's the most important thing going into this offseason. Everyone else, I don't give a shit. Like, just do what you got to do. If you got to recoup some assets. If you got to go out and get some players, I don't move anybody. I don't care. Don't care at all.
Yep. All right, buddy. I think that's going to do it today. We kind of rambled on about just the goings on lately. Didn't really talk about anything of note, but that's because there's not a ton going on. We're waiting for the draft this weekend. We're waiting for free agency next week. If anything major happens, we'll jump on as soon as we can to give our take on it. Again, I don't see a scenario where I think the Tavares and Nyes conversations are going to carry on beyond next Tuesday. We'll see what happens in terms of where Marner signs. We'll see if they pick up any free agents. Everyone is so horned up about them signing Mangiapane. And it's like, okay. I mean, he's an okay guy that if you want to add to your forward mix, but like that doesn't move the needle a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, then you're feeding. That's a problem with like criticizing any player that you can actually go get, is now you're just feeding into the Marner Tavares, like, we can't replace them narrative whenever they sign somebody, and you're just like, oh great, Mangiapane. But like that's the replacement. So it's just like, if you're on our side, you got to be kind of cool with whoever they get and just hope that they can contribute in their own way and it works out the way that we want it to work out. So,
yeah. So, like I said, we will be back next week after free agency. But if anything major happens, we will jump on immediately. If you'd like to join us, hit the like and subscribe button below for summer episodes. We've been getting a ton of great views, ton of great engagement. We really, really appreciate it.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We will see you guys any day now.